What is going on, Packer fans? Today we're going to analyze the tape of the first team offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. We'll watch some of these plays coming out, break down some of the different guys. Obviously, Jordan Morgan ended up getting the start at left tackle with Rasheed Walker out. Aaron Banks had his debut. There were some positives, some negatives. And at the end of this video, we'll talk about Anthony Belton a little bit. If you guys don't know this about me, I am a massive Anthony Belton fan. I thought he was one of the best interior offensive linemen coming out in this next class. Of course, he played tackle in college. He played tackle for the Packers as well in this game. But I felt if a team drafted this guy to be a full-time guard, I felt he would potentially be a starting guard day one. And there are a lot of moments on tape where Anthony Belton just straight up dominated. And we're going to break down the tape, so I'm really excited. Let's get into it. So this is the first play that the Packers actually run. This is 1st and 5, and I want you guys to keep an eye here on the left guard. Terrible rep here by Aaron Banks. This guy, in my opinion, is a good football player. At least with the 49ers, the guy had a lot of success. I think he's a much better run blocker than he is a pass blocker. This isn't the type of guy you generally see from him, right? He doesn't lose a whole lot even in pass pro. But this is a really bad rep to kind of start things off with. Now, this is a quick game, so the guy's obviously not going to get the sack. The fact that he is as close as he is a really bad rep by Banks. But the rest of the guys kind of end up having success. You see Jordan Morgan here do a phenomenal job against the defensive end. He's going to get his hands right on this guy, shuts him down. Right tackle Zach Tom, one of the best tackles in the NFL, also does a really good job against his guy over there at the right side. Generally speaking, pretty nice job by the group minus Aaron Banks. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get into this next snap here. So you're going to have an inside zone run towards the left. Really nice job here by the left tackle. I want to give this guy a little bit of credit for this play because he's going to process and recognize something that I think sometimes young offensive linemen may actually miss. So you can see Jordan Morgan's going to actually communicate over here to his offensive lineman that there's someone coming off the left edge here. Now obviously you guys can see the safety right here. Comes up to the line of scrimmage. He does drop back and a different guy ends up blitzing, but Morgan saw that one of these guys was potentially coming. And here's the thing, when you're running inside zone towards the left, for example, every offensive lineman blocks to the gap towards that side, right, towards their left. So with this play, when you get a guy coming off the edge here and the defensive end slants to the inside, that's telling the left guard that you need to take this defensive end. That's exactly what happens on this play. And Aaron Banks ends up picking up that guy kind of coming off the left edge there. To me, that's a really good job by the young offensive lineman Morgan to be able to kind of process and tell the guys towards the inside, there's a guy coming off the edge, so just kind of be aware of that. It's a pretty nice job by the offensive lineman. Only picks up about 4 yards, which is still a good run. This play's really not set up to have success, given that the Jets are going to end up blitzing on this play, right? They bring a guy on the front side. They also bring the slot corner off the backside. There's really nowhere for the running back to go. If he does make a man miss, you obviously pick up a little bit more yards, but the offensive linemen do a pretty good job on this one. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. So this next one is going to be a 3rd and 1. It's going to be an incomplete pass, and the Packers are going to end up punting the football. You guys can check the offensive lineman out. This is a 5-man protection. The running back releases out into a route. So the offensive linemen have to kind of figure out which 5 guys they're going to pick up. Now, obviously, you only get 4 guys that end up coming, but you still got to process this and pick this up. And you're going to get a couple of pretty nice reps here from the different guys on the offensive line. You're going to see Zach Tom going up against number 9. Number 9 is Will McDonald. He's a 1st-round pick, I believe, 2 years back. It's like the 13th, 14th overall pick. He's going to do a pretty good job on McDonald. He's able to kind of shut him down. Now, I do think McDonald's going to end up being a really good pass rusher. And you can kind of see it in his movement, right? He's going to hezzy out of his stance. But Tom does a really nice job just basically shutting it down. And then on the left side here, if you guys keep an eye on Jordan Morgan, phenomenal rep once again. I mean, the guy just straight up anchors down going up against this edge player. Now, that's not their starting edge player. I think McDonald's really the only starting guy that's out there on the defensive line. Michael Clemens is not a terrible defensive lineman, right? 72, he's still a rotational player. And you do see Morgan do a nice job being able to kind of anchor down on this play. 75, 74 are going to end up picking up the one technique. And then Jennings is going to let that go and he's going to get over here and help Banks. Not a terrible rep by Banks. Maybe he gets pushed back just a little bit. But Banks does have a pretty good anchor, right? Generally speaking, if you're trying to bull rush Banks, he does a pretty nice job. He has heavy hands. I think that's still a winning rep by Banks. The quarterback is kept clean. He is able to make a pretty clean pass. Of course, you do get an incomplete pass. The Packers do come out for one more drive, and you're going to see them do a pretty nice job on this first run. It's going to pick up about 4 yards. This is outside zone towards the left. I think this offensive line is really built to run outside zone and wide zone concepts. Of course, Matt LaFleur historically has had a lot of success with these concepts, but if you guys watch Morgan, you guys watch Banks, you guys watch the center, guard, tackle, they generate a lot of movement. And I know the running back's not able to hit the gap on this one. In fact, Jennings has to do a little bit of a better job on the one technique. Number 91 here is going to end up doing a great job with the hands. And again, it's a very difficult block for any center. Number 91, pretty solid. Derek Naughty historically has had a lot of success for the Chiefs. I'd say he's an elite run defender, right? Truth be told. This is why, right? He gets the hands in a Jennings. He fights through it. And that's okay, right? If Jennings is not able to really get the hands on Naughty, he's not able to reach block him. That's not a huge deal, but you do got to stick to the block because the running back can potentially bend it back towards the inside. Not a huge deal. Obviously, a really, really good run defender, but I love the movement here that's generated. This left tackle is going to take this defensive end and absolutely move him out of there. Morgan, in my opinion, was the most impressive offensive lineman out there. Pass pro, he's very, very, very solid. Run blocking, the guy had a lot of movement that he was kind of generating. And just over and over and over again, you see this guy having success in, pass rushing situations. To me, the guy looked really good out there. Once again, a very nice, clean pocket for the offensive line here. Some people might not agree with this, but I do think the Packers have a top 5 to 7 offensive line. From a pure player perspective. And if you really break down some of these guys, there's so much upside and potential. Zach Tom, arguably a top 5 to 7 offensive lineman. You look at Jennings, I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 interior offensive linemen in the NFL as well. There's a reason why Banks got paid the type of money he got paid. He's solid. Very, very solid offensive lineman. Some people may disagree with that, but I cover the 49ers on this channel as well. You guys can go back and watch my 49ers breakdowns. Half the time, Banks is having a lot of really nice reps in those games. And of course, Morgan, I don't know if he starts at left tackle or if he ends up moving to right guard. Not really sure what the plan is, but he might even be better than Rasheed Walker, right? There's a chance that he's better than him. To me, that's a really, really good group up there. If Morgan develops into a top 10 to 15 tackle, think about the talent that the Packers kind of have. And of course, I don't hate the right guard, Sean Ryan. I think he's a pretty good offensive lineman as well. But when Anthony Belton steps in at some point, I think he'll probably play right guard. Belton's dominant. And don't get me wrong, there's some guys up here that are good offensive linemen. Ryan has had a lot of success in the past as well. He's not a terrible offensive lineman. But I think Belton's upside is a lot higher. So, you got guys that could potentially come in and have success. Again, I think the Green Bay Packers have a really, really good offensive line. First and 10 on this one after picking up that first. And you're going to pick up 4 yards on this one. It's going to be a wide zone towards the right. Pretty nice job by Brooks, just a 4-yard run. Really liked how he's able to kind of read his blocks out there and kind of make those plays. And there's a lot of good blocks on this play, and I kind of want to just analyze some of these different guys. Now, I do think running like wide zone or outside zone is a lot harder than running like power or even inside zone because you got to be a lot more athletic, and the blocks are a lot harder as well, right? The reach block specifically. But you watch here how the right guard, right tackle blocked this 3 technique. This is a really, really good job here by Tom. He's going to help the guard. The guard's going to kind of get out in front of it. And then the tackle has a very difficult reach block, given he has to help the guard here. But Tom does do a pretty good job, and he's not going to 100% reach in front of the linebacker, but he still does a nice job. He still does a nice job being able to make contact with this guy, right? So the right guard overtakes his guy. The linebacker does kind of get over the top, but again, Tom sticks with it and just rides him, out towards the right. Would have loved for the running back to cut it to the left right off of Tom, but it was hard because of the backside pursuit. You guys watch the center, left guard, left tackle. There's a lot of these guys that you got to kind of reach and get in front of. Keep an eye here on the one technique. Aaron Banks going to get right in front of this guy. Phenomenal job. And of course, the center helps Banks a lot on this play. I think this is some of those like learning reps where you got to kind of get used to the guys next to you. To me, this is a very easy block. Banks can easily get in front of this guy, no issue. I think Jennings should just take this and get up here and pick off whichever guy ends up going over towards that right gap. But again, this is one of those things where you just got to kind of get used to whoever it is that is kind of playing next to you. Banks would easily be able to reach the one technique here. But Jennings does do a great job helping, right? He makes sure Banks gets this block. So huge credit to Jennings on this one. But as much as help he does give Banks, he ends up not being able to pick off. There's never really one guy on a zone run that you have to pick up. You have to block a gap, right, or a side. So it is kind of hard. You can see that Morgan and Jennings aren't really able to kind of get to those guys. If Jennings does get out of here without helping and potentially picks off this linebacker, this linebacker's going to be the guy that kind of blows this play up. Just keep an eye on this guy. He's going to get over Morgan's block. If Jennings is able to pick him up, right, if he just goes right away, the running back might be able to pick up some more yards running this to the left side of the right tackle Tom there. Not a huge deal. Still a really, really nice rep by the offensive lineman. Check this next play out. Keep an eye here on Jordan Morgan. And look at the awareness and the football IQ to realize there's a guy blitzing off the edge, and he essentially picks this guy up. Now, the quarterback does throw the ball. It is a defensive pass interference. This is 3rd and 6. You get the first down. But huge, huge, huge shout out to Morgan, because if the quarterback does not throw this as quickly as he does, there's a possibility the quarterback takes a hit if Morgan does not process this and pick this up. In this instance, he obviously does a really, really good job being able to kind of pick it up. Let's get into the next snap. I want to show you guys a couple of snaps from Anthony Belton's very first ever NFL action. To me, the guy was physical. He was putting people down. Really, really enjoyed kind of seeing some of the different things that this guy did. Now, to me, Belton is an elite run blocker. It's going to be where he's going to make his money in the NFL, which is why I think as a guard, the guy will be a really, really good football player. But even as a guy who could potentially play tackle, the guy has pretty good movement for his size. And of course, obviously with that size, he does have a lot of power, and you definitely see that flash, play in, play out. The guy's physical, man. He has really, really good anchor ability. You see on this play, he's going to jump set this defensive end, which means he's going to go right out towards this guy. He's going to end up wrapping him up, which not a huge fan of that, but if it works, it works. A really good job. Look at this. He just stays right in front of the defensive end. That kind of lets him go right instead of keeping him wrapped up. And then he just stays right in front of it. Here's another pretty nice pass rep. He's going to go up against the defensive end. Just straight up gets out of there super, super quickly on this one. I love the recovery within this play. I want to slow this play down a little bit. First and foremost, just notice that pop out of his stance. First guy that kind of moves right as the center snaps the football, but you see him kind of get out there. And just a great job being able to beat this guy to the landmark. If you're the fastest guy out of your stance, you're going to win half your reps just because you're essentially in front of these guys. He also is going to do a great job being able to recover. So he's going to punch this defensive end right into the chest, but the defensive end is going to try to push him forward with his left arm. Now, Belton's almost off balance here. He does a great job letting this guy go at the perfect moment. Resets the feet, just gets right back in front of the defensive end. That's a great job right there to be able to recover. Given it's his very first experience in the NFL. Play in, play out, Belton was very, very consistent in pass pro. Loved the movement, loved how he kind of popped out of there. Beat these guys to the landmark, did a really nice job staying in front of people. These things that this guy flashes early on in his career is going to translate into him being a good football player down the line. When we watched Jordan Morgan for the first time in preseason last year, the guy wasn't great, right? He had moments, obviously, when he flashed, but he also had moments where he was losing blocks. What you show right now is foundational piece. You will be able to kind of develop as time goes forward, and you'll obviously be able to just continue to improve some of the different things that you flash on tape. I mean, the physicality, the movement this guy has, run blocking is absolutely elite. This here looks like some sort of read option concept. So it's blocked almost like inside zone. And you can just see Belton just help, kind of turn this guy with the right guard. 7 yards on this one. Here's another really nice rep in pass pro. On this one here, he's going to end up going up against the defensive end. And just straight up shuts him down, gets the hands right to him. Stays right in front of him as well. Now, he does get a little bit of help on this one by the tight end. One of the things that Matt LaFleur loves to do with his scheme is to help these offensive tackles. He puts a tight end right over the defensive end. And although the tight end releases right into his route, this defensive end cannot speed rush this guy because the tight end would technically chip him if that's what this guy tried to do. All right, so 86 does influence the pass rush. On the other side, man, look at Jordan Morgan. If you guys have been watching some of these snaps as we're looking at Anthony Belton, Morgan's been just straight up dominating people out there, man. The guy had a phenomenal game, specifically in pass pro. And again, some of the young guys that the Packers have right now on the offensive line, they're looking good as hell, man. Those, the Morgan pick, even the Belton pick, I think is going to really translate to these guys having a good unit. I want to show you guys a couple more snaps here. Here's another one. You're going to get a double team on the long three technique. And look at the movement that these guys are generating. Now, obviously, the play ends up getting stopped. The defensive end who's unblocked here, he ends up just coming straight downhill. I'm not sure exactly why the quarterback hands it off. He should have probably pulled it. But if the defensive end doesn't come downhill right, if he ends up going towards the right, the movement by Belton here in the right guard as well is really, really, really nice, right? To me, it's a really good job moving that guy kind of out of that gap. Just a couple more plays that I want to break down. You're going to get a zone run towards the right, weak side run, which I love weak side runs when you have good offensive linemen that can reach. When you have a good tackle that can, move a guy out as you do on this one. Really nice job by the guard center. Great job by Anthony Belton as well. This one picks up about 15 yards. So just a really, really nice job. Let's break this down just a little bit. So one of the things with this play working, obviously you guys see the front here. You see how these guys are kind of lined up. And of course, there's a natural gap already between these guys. But Belton's going to do a really nice job as he kind of makes contact. He's going to push this guy towards the right. Great double team. Guard here ends up being able to get up there and climb up to the linebacker. Turns the one technique as well. Just a really nice job by those three guys. Keep an eye on Belton here. He's going to make contact with the DN. And then look at the movement. Right, he keeps those feet going. He ends up putting the guy into the ground. Really, really nice job right there. You're going to get another one here. Once again, zone run towards the right. Keep an eye on Belton, man. Look at him just get up to the next level. And just straight up pancake the linebacker. He just straight up puts his ass into the ground. And Johnson takes this one 39 yards to the house. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal job by Johnson, reading this play. Sander does a really good job as well. To me, Smith here, the center, does a really nice job. Trey Hill, right guard, also ends up doing a good job helping him. And of course, Belton gets up to that linebacker and just straight up punishes him. Phenomenal rep here by Belton. And again, I don't know if he's going to be an offensive tackle as he kind of goes forward. Getting reps at offensive tackle is always the way to go because, in my opinion, playing offensive tackle is a lot more harder than playing guard. Guard's a lot easier. And if you're able to have success as an offensive tackle, or even just take reps, given it's a lot harder, by the time you get over to the guard position, it's going to be a lot easier. And again, I'm a huge fan of Belton. I think as he makes that transition back over to that guard position, I think he's going to end up being a really, really good football player. And I think Jordan Morgan pretty much proved that he should be the left tackle of the Packers. He should be the franchise guy, truth be told. I don't know if that's going to end up happening, but I do think he should be getting that opportunity. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. We are covering the Packers on this channel. And we will be analyzing the Packers pretty much every single week. And if there's any player you guys want to see a film breakdown on, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, let me know in the comments below and we'll definitely get into it. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.